We begin with a warning about a crime of opportunity. After a string of thefts from vehicles in Maple Grove, police want to remind neighbors to lock up.
That's one thing we ask residents to do, is to keep their cars locked if they're parked outside, to keep their valuables out of sight in the cars, and then to close their garage door, even if they are home, just so it takes away that opportunity to become a target of these crimes.
Maple Grove Police Commander John Wetternock says it was an isolated incident and 3 thefts were reported. A neighbor we spoke with referenced several more by 101st Avenue and Valley Forge Lane that went unreported. The case is still under investigation, but Maple Grove police say they've identified a potential suspect. Wetternock says none of the thefts were forced entry.
They were all unlocked vehicles, so it was an easy opportunity for these perpetrators to take the items.
Wetternock says that overall thefts of and from motor vehicles are down this year. He credits much of that success to community outreach and education. Brooklyn Park Police, meanwhile, arrested a suspect accused of trying to rob a man at gunpoint, striking the victim with the weapon. The incident happened late Saturday morning in the 6700 block of Oak Grove Parkway. According to police, the victim arranged to sell shoes through social media. When the buyer showed up, he displayed a gun, then struck the victim with the handgun when he refused to comply. The suspect fled in a vehicle, and a witness saw him toss his weapon out of the car. Police spotted the vehicle and made an arrest. Jail records show an 18-year-old from Inver Grove Heights was booked pending a charge of aggravated robbery. Plymouth and other cities are scrambling to pass zoning regulations for cannabis sales. The Minnesota legislature approved the consumption of recreational marijuana last year, and the state's new Office of Cannabis Management is in the process of accepting applications for related businesses. The city of Plymouth, meanwhile, is trying to determine where cannabis-related businesses can go. While the city cannot stop cannabis businesses from opening in their city, it can limit the number of retail licenses allowed. Under state law, the number of licenses can be capped at 1 per every 12,500 people. City officials say the Plymouth City Council has indicated it would cap the number of retail licenses at 8. Meanwhile, some members of the city's planning commission indicated frustration with the new law, saying it's being forced down their throat.
The Plymouth citizens that I've spoken to, none of them want this. And I think this is a disaster for our youth.
The Plymouth Planning Commission recommends limiting cannabis retail sales to commercial zoning districts. Those businesses would have to be located at least 500 feet away from schools or residential treatment facilities. The City Council has the final say on regulations. It's expected to take up the issue November 12th. We are in the middle of an election season, which means that people from all walks of life are asking for your vote. But an alum from Cooper High School is trying to solicit votes for a completely different reason, one that could earn his daughter a prestigious title. Ella Shane is a bubbly, energetic 1.5-year-old girl. Her parents, John and Megan, couldn't be more proud.
She's got a personality that the world should have.
We hear all the time how cute she is and how sweet she is.
By Cynthia Platt.
It's the sort of thing you might expect to hear from every parent talking about their first child. But there's a big reason why they're so high on Ella.
So this is the actual webpage to vote for Ella for Baby of the Year.
Ella is in a nationwide contest to become Baby of the Year.
Came up on my Instagram as like a sponsored ad, and I, of course, you know, when it says, "Do you have America's Cutest Baby?" I'm like, yes, we do. So
Baby of the Year is a voting competition put on by the nonprofit Baby to Baby, which provides basic essentials for underprivileged children. Anyone with Ella's link can vote once a day for free.
you can donate for votes as well. And my family in Canada has been donating a lot. My mom, Carolyn, because she's not here every day. So that's, you know, her way of being involved.
The competition began on September 17th, and Ella has made it through multiple rounds of voting. She's currently at number 1 in her group. Oh, and by the way, the winner receives $25,000 and will start an ad campaign in Good Housekeeping magazine.
People always say she should get into baby acting or modeling, and, you know, we kind of thought about it. So this is our, you know, introduction into seeing how that would go, and if she enjoys it, then,
The competition goes on for another month, so whether Ella has what it takes to become Baby of the Year remains to be seen. John and Megan are asking for your vote.
Well, I think they should vote for Ella just because she's that cool, personally.
As for what the family will do if they win the $25,000 prize, they say they'll put some toward Ella's college fund and also help pay to make Ella and her mom United States citizens. Both were born in Canada. Now to an update on a story we brought you recently, art made out of buckthorn. Dave and Rhoda Michaelin of Golden Valley spent an incredible amount of time carving creations out of the invasive shrub. They've made everything from kitchenware to creative sculptures. All of it is done to honor their son who died of an accidental drug overdose. Proceeds from their art go to support awareness of substance abuse. This weekend, they managed to raise more than $14,000. The money will benefit the nonprofit Change the Outcome, which works to educate teens on the opioid epidemic. Finally, this segment, art that's not easy to make and takes many hours of time. It's an unconventional technique called encaustic painting. You'll find it at the Robbin Gallery in Robbinsdale. These pieces by Naomi Hart involve detailed drawings combined with etching and painting that's topped with hot beeswax to give a 3D effect. We leave you with a closer look. Enjoy.
The Maple Grove girls soccer team is back in the state tournament for a second straight year and for the fifth time since 2017. The Crimson are hoping to build on last week's section title winning momentum. For the second year in a row, Maple Grove girls soccer knocked Spring Lake Park out of the section playoffs in the 5-3A championship. Last week's 4-2 win included 3 goals scored in the match's final 3.5 minutes.
We just are so excited. We are proud of ourselves for just sticking it out till the end. It was kind of a crazy game in the section final, but we were able to play all the way through, and it was just super exciting.
It's crazy to see goals just kind of come in buckets. You know, we get our first goal, they come back 15 seconds later, and then we get that many goals scored. 3 goals scored in the last 3.5 minutes of the game. It was chaos, but it was a lot of fun.
It was so exciting. It was a very competitive game though. I loved the energy all throughout the game, and then especially towards the end, just all my teammates running up to me, and then we're all just celebrating, and it was so fun.
The Crimson carry a 14-2-2 record into this week, but they were not seeded for the state tournament and face second seed Eastridge in Tuesday's 3A quarterfinals. The Raptors eliminated previously unbeaten White Bear Lake in the Section 4 3A final. It's a full week between the section final and the state quarterfinals. Extra practice time that the team doesn't have the luxury of during the regular season.
We're managing mileage and injuries and just keeping spirits up. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's one that I'm welcoming at this time.
The Crimson know what to expect with the coming game or games and are ready to draw on last year's experience to help them out.
For sure. Our just our last year experience is definitely going to help us moving forward under like the pressure that comes along with the state tournament.
I just think we got to keep up like our hardworking drive and just communicate all together as a team and just focus.
Tuesday's match between Maple Grove and Eastridge starts at 5:30 p.m. at White Bear Lake High School, with the Crimson Boys playing at 7:30 against Rochester Mayo. After finishing as state runner-up last season, the unbeaten Maple Grove boys soccer team earned the #2 seed for this year's Class 3A tournament. Jay Wilcox has more on the Crimson.
They enter the state tournament with an unbeaten record at 17-0-1. But the Maple Grove boys soccer team had to survive a mighty challenge from Champlain Park in the Section 5 3A final. The Crimson won in a shootout when Luke Steen saved Champlain Park's 5th shot and Frank Miller made it 5 for 5 for the Crimson.
It was a great win. We played together and didn't let their attack get to us and kept playing through all the injuries. Didn't let Frank play through his cast, cramps. Owen came back on after his hip was bugging him and just played together.
Coming to the state tournament, every team's going to put up a good fight, so we know that we're not untouchable, which I think is good because now we got to play our game. We know it could happen, but it gives us more confidence now that we won a game like that.
You know, the game went both ways. They had chances, we had chances, but yeah, I'm proud of how the boys hung in there. You know, after our missed PK earlier in the game and a few other things that happened, you know, we could have maybe put our heads down, but the guys just kept playing along, and that's kind of the group we've had all year. So.
For the State 3A tournament, Maple Grove is the #2 seed behind another unbeaten club, Minneapolis Washburn. The experience gained by going all the way to the final last season should help the returning players be set for state.
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of experience on this team. Like when I was going into it first year last year, I was nervous, didn't know how it went, but this year it's my second year going into the tournament and we kind of know how it goes.
Last year, first time playing a state tournament, I did have some nerves, but I feel a lot more confident this year with that experience under my belt, and I think it helps our younger guys because we're able to pass that experience off and, you know, get those nerves out of them.
Maple Grove meets unseeded Rochester Mayo in the quarterfinals Tuesday at White Bear Lake. Maple Grove's a deep team that may not have any one star that stands out, but they'll put a strong 11 out there at all times, and that's tough to beat. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.